In the high-stakes environment of corporate governance, the ability to identify internal threats before they result in catastrophic loss is a defining characteristic of a mature security program. Today, we learn how to identify the early warning signs of fraud and system misuse within your organization by focusing on the subtle digital artifacts left behind by unauthorized activity. Typically, an internal threat does not emerge as a single, massive event, but as a series of small, increasingly bold deviations from established professional norms. In practice, the role of a cybersecurity professional is to act as a digital sentry, observing these minor ripples in the data to anticipate a coming storm. What this means is that we are moving beyond simple perimeter defense to a state of constant internal vigilance and behavioral analysis. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. It is helpful to start with a clear distinction between fraud and system misuse, as these two behaviors often require different investigative and legal responses from the organization. Fraud is formally defined as the intentional deception of others for personal gain or to cause a loss to another party, often involving financial or intellectual property theft. Misuse, on the other hand, is the violation of organizational policies or acceptable use standards, such as an employee using a corporate server to host a personal business. In practice, while misuse might not always be criminal, it often creates the technical vulnerabilities or cultural environment where actual fraud can flourish. Typically, a comprehensive security program treats both behaviors as serious indicators of a breakdown in organizational trust and technical oversight. A foundational requirement for any defender is to practice by looking for unusual login times or massive data transfers that occur outside of normal business hours or from unexpected geographic locations. When an employee who typically works a 9-to-5 schedule suddenly begins accessing the corporate network at 3 a.m, it is a technical anomaly that warrants further investigation. In practice, these events are often the first visible signs of an account compromise or an insider who is attempting to operate while the security team is less likely to be watching. Typically, modern attackers and rogue insiders rely on the volume of normal traffic to hide their activities, but they cannot completely eliminate the temporal footprint of their work. What this means is that the when of a technical action is often just as important as the what or the who. A major and frequently occurring pitfall in organizational security is the tendency to ignore small technical anomalies because they are perceived as minor inconveniences or routine system glitches. This dismissive attitude can be devastating, as these small glitches are often the precursors to a much larger and more damaging security breach or a sophisticated fraud scheme. In practice, a rogue actor might perform several small test transactions or unauthorized access attempts to see if they trigger a response from the Security Operations Center. Typically, if these tests go unnoticed, the actor gains the confidence to escalate their behavior to a more destructive or profitable level. This realization highlights why a culture of curiosity and rigorous investigation is a non-negotiable part of a professional and resilient defense strategy. You can achieve a significant and immediate quick win for your monitoring program by setting up automated alerts for any user who attempts to access restricted financial folders or sensitive project directories without authorization. These canary folders or files act as silent alarms, providing an instant notification when someone is poking around in areas that are not relevant to their specific job function. In practice, these alerts allow the security team to intervene in real time, potentially stopping a data theft or a fraudulent transaction before it is finalized. Typically, most modern operating systems and file servers provide the necessary auditing capabilities to track these access attempts with high precision. What this means is that you are using targeted technical monitoring to create a proactive early warning system for your most valuable assets. It is worth taking a moment to visualize the specific behavioral pattern of a rogue employee who is slowly and methodically exfiltrating company secrets over several months before they quit to join a competitor. This individual might gradually increase their volume of cloud uploads, print a few extra sensitive documents each week, or begin searching for information in departments where they have no official business. In practice, this slow and low approach is designed to stay beneath the radar of traditional volume-based security alerts that look for massive, sudden spikes in activity. Typically, the evidence of this behavior exists across multiple logs such as email, web proxy, and printer logs, but it requires a holistic view to connect the dots. This visualization helps you see the importance of aggregating your data to uncover the long-term narrative of an internal threat. In the field of security analytics, we use the specific phrase behavioral baseline to describe the normal, everyday activity of a user or a system that you compare against suspicious or anomalous actions. Establishing a baseline requires observing a user's typical patterns, such as which applications they use, which servers they access, and the average volume of data they transmit. In practice, the baseline acts as the standard for what good behavior looks like, allowing the security team to identify deviations that might indicate a compromised account or a malicious insider. Typically, a behavioral baseline is not static. It must evolve as the employee's role or the organization's technical environment changes over time. What this means is that your monitoring is grounded in a deep understanding of the normal state of your specific organization. Reviewing your access logs for administrative and privileged accounts on a regular basis is a high-value way to spot potential internal threats or the early signs of an external account takeover. Administrative accounts have the keys to the kingdom, allowing an actor to disable security controls, create new users, or access any piece of data on the network. In practice, any unauthorized or unexpected use of these high-level privileges should be treated as a critical security incident until proven otherwise. Typically, a rogue actor will attempt to escalate their privileges to an administrative level as quickly as possible to maximize their impact and hide their tracks. This technical oversight ensures that those with the most power in your environment are also the ones subject to the most rigorous and professional levels of scrutiny. Imagine the profound and lasting cost to your organization if a sophisticated fraud scheme or a case of systematic data misuse goes undetected for more than 6 months. The financial losses can be staggering, but the reputational damage and the loss of intellectual property can be even more devastating for the long-term viability of the business. Typically, the longer a rogue actor is allowed to operate within your environment, the more deeply they can integrate themselves into your business processes and the more evidence they can destroy. In practice, early detection is the only way to minimize the blast radius of an internal incident and to ensure a successful recovery. This scenario highlights why proactive monitoring is a foundational part of modern organizational risk management and professional legal defense. Every professional should anchor their monitoring strategy in the fundamental idea that most internal threats and fraud schemes leave a visible digital trail if you know where and how to look. Human actors, even sophisticated ones, find it almost impossible to interact with complex technical systems without leaving some artifact of their presence, whether it is a modified log file, a shell history, or a suspicious network connection. In practice, the challenge for the investigator is not the absence of evidence, but the overwhelming volume of data that must be filtered to find the relevant facts. Typically, the most successful investigators are those who combine technical skill with a deep understanding of human psychology and business processes. What this means is that your role is to translate these digital fragments into a clear and defensible account of the truth. We have now covered the primary technical indicators of fraud and system misuse and explored the critical importance of proactive, behavioral-based monitoring in your security program. By understanding how to look for temporal anomalies and unauthorized privilege use, you are building a more resilient and self-aware organization. Typically, the most effective security teams are those that foster a collaborative relationship with the human resources and legal departments to ensure that monitoring is both effective and lawful. In practice, this integrated approach ensures that the organization can identify threats early while respecting the rights of its employees. This focus on internal vigilance is what differentiates a high-performing security leader from one who is merely focused on the external perimeter. A highly effective technique for spotting these threats is to use data visualization tools and behavioral analytics to help you see spikes or shifts in activity that might indicate a system being misused. Humans are naturally better at identifying patterns in a visual chart or a graph than in thousands of lines of raw text in a log file. In practice, a heat map of login times or a link analysis of data flows can instantly highlight a rogue actor who is operating outside of the organizational norm. Typically, these tools allow the security team to spot the outliers in a data set and to focus their investigative resources on the most suspicious activities first. What this means is that you are using the power of data science to augment your professional judgment and your technical expertise. Spotting these patterns early allows the organization to intervene with a professional response before a minor policy violation has the chance to turn into a major crime or a devastating data breach. An early intervention might involve a simple conversation with an employee, a targeted training session, or a temporary suspension of access while a formal investigation is conducted. In practice, these proactive steps can prevent a situation from escalating to the point where law enforcement or external regulators must be involved. Typically, the goal is to resolve the issue as quietly and efficiently as possible, protecting both the organization's assets and its professional culture. This focus on early detection and intervention is a hallmark of a mature and well-governed digital enterprise that understands the value of its internal trust. This session on the essentials of spotting fraud and misuse patterns is now complete, and you have gained a solid understanding of how to protect your organization from internal threats. We have discussed the definition of fraud versus misuse, the role of behavioral baselines, the importance of administrative account reviews, and the value of data visualization tools. A warm and very practical next step for your own professional growth is to take a moment today and check your system for any unauthorized or unexpected administrative logins from the past week. As you perform this check, consider whether the timing and the location of these logins align with your organization's behavioral norms and professional expectations. Moving forward with this observant and disciplined mindset will help you ensure that your organization's internal defenses are always alert and fully defensible.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.